The sky above Earth cracked open. A sleek silver ship broke through the clouds like a knife. It moved fast and silent, gliding down through the atmosphere without a sound. This was not the first time aliens had come to Earth, but it was the first time they came with purpose. They called themselves the Zalari Hegemony. They were old, powerful, and careful. They mapped stars, studied planets, and judged life forms from afar. When they found Earth, they did not land right away. They watched. They scanned. They waited. Earth looked normal at first. It was green and blue, full of water and trees. There were cities and roads, machines and animals. But there were also strange energy readings, small, but unusual. And worse, the planet gave off no signals, no messages, no radio waves, no satellites. That made the Zalari curious. They sent a scout vessel, small, fast, and loaded with tech. Its mission was simple: get close, take samples, and report back. The crew was made up of 6 Zalari. Their leader was Commander Lyra Tenshaw, a woman with sharp eyes and sharper instincts. She had seen many worlds. Some were peaceful, some were deadly, most were boring. Earth, she thought, might be one of the interesting ones. "Prepare for descent," she said, her voice calm over the comms. The ship dropped lower, its engines humming softly. It passed over what used to be a city. Tall buildings stood empty, glass was broken, cars sat still in the streets. Trees grew wild where people once walked. "Life signs?" Lyra asked. "Minimal," came the reply. "Some movement underground, not enough to confirm intelligent presence." She frowned. Intelligent or not, something was here. They landed near a large forest. The ship touched down with a soft hiss. Outside, the wind blew gently through the trees. Birds flew overhead. Everything seemed quiet, too quiet. Lyra stepped out first, followed by her team. They wore light armor and carried scanning tools. The air was fresh, cold but clean. No toxins, no radiation. "This place feels abandoned," said Raoul, the youngest member of the team. "It's not," Lyra replied. "Something lives here." They spread out, moving slowly through the trees. The ground was covered in leaves and moss. Small animals scurried away at their approach. The scans showed nothing new. Just plants. Just animals. But then they found the stone. It rose from the earth like a tooth. Black, smooth, and cold. Symbols were carved into its surface, symbols none of them recognized. Raoul reached out to touch it. "No," Lyra snapped. "Don't touch anything yet." He pulled back his hand. "This isn't natural," she muttered, studying the carvings. The others gathered around. "What do you think it is?" asked Mika, the tech expert. "I don't know," Lyra admitted. "But someone put this here." They scanned it. The device beeped and buzzed, trying to match the symbols to known languages. Nothing came up. Then suddenly the screen changed. Text appeared, in perfect Zalari. "Do not land. Turn back now. This world is sealed." The team stared at the message. "That's impossible," Mika whispered. "How would it know our language?" Lyra didn't answer. Her fingers tightened around her scanner. "We're not alone here," she said finally, "and someone doesn't want us here." They backed away from the stone. The forest felt different now, colder, watchful. They kept moving. Hours later, they found more stones, dozens of them, each one buried deep in the ground, each one carrying the same warning in different languages. Some were ancient, some were newer. All said the same thing: do not land. Turn back now. This world is sealed. They stopped at one of the larger stones. It was half buried in the dirt, leaning like a forgotten tombstone. Mika crouched beside it. "There's power under." "Here," she said. "Not much, but something." "Can you trace it?" Lyra asked. "I can try." She set up her scanner and ran a test. The machine hummed for a moment, then flashed red. "Whatever it is, it's not natural," she said. It's not just buried, it's locked. Lyra nodded slowly. Let's go deeper, she said. They followed the trail of stones. The deeper they went, the more unnatural things became. Trees twisted in ways they shouldn't. The ground pulsed, faintly underfoot. Shadows stretched longer than they should. Then they found the entrance. It was hidden beneath layers of rock and vines. A metal door, covered in dust and rust, stood closed. Symbols lined its edges. The same symbols from the stones. Mika tried to open it. The scanner beeped again. Warning. Seal active. Unauthorized entry denied. Lyra took a step back. We need to report this, she said. They returned to the ship. Back inside, they uploaded the data, the images, the warnings, the symbols, the strange energy readings. The hegemony received the report. They reviewed it carefully. Then they made a decision. They would send a diplomatic team to make contact. They ignored the warnings. They ignored the danger. They believed Earth was primitive, weak, easy to control. They were wrong. Meanwhile, far below the surface, something stirred. In a hidden base deep under Nevada, a group of humans watched the Zalari landing on their screens. They had been waiting for this. They knew what would happen next. One of them, a man named Dale Harper, leaned back in his chair and sighed. They never listen, he muttered. Beside him, a young hacker named Eli Walshin looked up from his keyboard. They're going in, Eli said. Dale nodded. Then let the games begin. Another figure, Nina Morales, walked into the room. She was older, smarter, and always watching. They'll regret coming here, she said. We warned them. But they didn't believe us, Dale added. Nina smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. Good, she said. Let them see what we're really made of. Above ground, the Zalari prepared for the next phase. They sent a second ship, larger, faster, more advanced. This one carried diplomats, scientists, and guards. Their goal, make contact, learn about the ruins, assess the threat level. They did not expect war. They did not expect Earth to fight back. When the ship landed, everything changed. The moment the ramp lowered, the ground shook. A loud noise filled the air, like thunder mixed with static. The scouts who stepped off the ship vanished. 1 second they were there, the next gone. Smoke rose from the ground. Metal groaned. Lights flickered. From the shadows something watched, something ancient, something angry, and somewhere deep below, a system woke up, a defense mechanism, long dormant, now active. Earth had been warned. Now so would the invaders. The second ship landed with a low hum. It was bigger than the first, sleek, shiny. Its hull gleamed under the morning sun. This one carried more people, scientists, diplomats, soldiers. The Zalari had learned something from the first scout teams. Report. There were ruins, strange warnings, and signs of ancient tech. But they still didn't believe Earth was dangerous. They thought it was primitive. They thought its people were weak. They were wrong. As the ramp lowered, a gust of wind blew. Through the trees, birds scattered. Leaves danced in the air. The forest seemed to watch them. Commander Lyra Tenshaw stood at the top of the ramp. She looked out over the landing zone. It was flat, open, surrounded by trees. Perfect for a diplomatic mission. Behind her, Captain Darnvex stepped forward. Clear, he said. No movement. Lyra nodded. Stay sharp, she told the others. We don't know what we're dealing with. She led the way down the ramp. Her boots hit the ground with a soft thud. Behind her came scientists, guards, and techs. All wore light armor and carried tools or weapons. They spread out. Scanners buzzed. Lights blinked. Data flowed. Nothing unusual, Mika reported. Just trees and dirt. Check the perimeter, Lyra ordered. 2 scouts moved ahead. They walked, slowly scanning as they went. One of them tapped his helmet. I'm picking up faint energy readings, he said. Underground. Same here, said another. Lyra frowned. Could be old tech, she said, like the ruins. They kept moving. Then the ground shifted. Soft rumble, a tremor. Then silence, everyone stopped. What was that? Someone asked. No idea, Mika replied. Then the first explosion hit. It came from below. A burst of fire and smoke shot up from the earth. 2 scouts vanished in the blast. Screams filled the air. Contact, someone shouted. Explosives! The soldiers raised their weapons. But there was nothing to shoot at. More explosions followed. One, near the ship. One behind a tree. Another just beside a group of techs. Metal flew. People fell. Smoke rose. Chaos. Fall back, Lyra yelled. Get to cover. They ran. Some made it. Others didn't. From the trees, shapes moved. Not aliens. Not robots. Humans. Wearing dark clothes. Moving fast. Vanishing like ghosts. They fired from hidden spots. Small, quiet shots. One soldier dropped. Then another. The Zalari tried to return. Fire, but the enemy was everywhere and nowhere. Where are they coming from? Darn shouted. I can't tell, Mika yelled back. They're using decoys and mirrors. Another explosion rocked the field. The ground cracked open, a deep hole formed. One of the scouts screamed as he fell inside, his voice echoed down into darkness. They're digging tunnels, Lyra realized. They've been waiting for us. Darn looked around. We need to pull out, he said. Now! Lyra hesitated. They hadn't even made contact yet. They hadn't seen a single face, and already they were losing people. Retreat, she ordered. The survivors ran for the ship. Some made it. Most didn't. By the time the remaining crew got aboard, half their team was gone. The door closed. Engines roared. The ship lifted off, leaving smoke and blood behind. Back on board, the mood was grim. Casualty count? Lyra asked. 13 dead, Darn said. 5 missing, 7 injured. Mika sat at her station reviewing footage. This isn't normal, she muttered. They knew we'd come. They set traps. They knew exactly where we'd land. Lyra stared out the window. They weren't hiding, she said. They were waiting. Far below, deep under Nevada, the humans celebrated. Sort of. There was no cheering, no high fives. Just quiet nods and tired smiles. In a dimly lit control room, Dale Harper leaned back in his chair and rubbed his eyes. That went better than expected, he said. Beside him, Eli Walsh typed quickly on a keyboard. They pulled out faster than I thought, Eli said. I was ready to trigger the 3rd phase. Nina Morales walked in holding a steaming cup of coffee. They'll be back, she said. They always are. Dale sighed. Let them come, he said. We'll be ready. He turned to a large screen showing maps and camera feeds. Let's move teams Alpha and Bravo to Sector 7, he said. If they try again, we hit them harder. Nina sipped her coffee. They're going to send more next time, she warned. Maybe a full strike force. Eli grinned. Let 'em bring it, he said. We've got surprises. Nina gave him a look. You keep thinking that, she said. Until one day, you don't. Outside, the world was quiet again, but not for long. Back on the Hegemony flagship, the Council reviewed the data. They watched the footage, the explosions, the ambushes, the disappearances. They studied the ruins, the symbols, the warnings. This changes everything, said High Commander Yellick. It doesn't, another council member argued. They're primitives, they use traps, that's all. Yellick shook his head. They knew we were coming, he said. They built defenses underground. They ambushed us with precision. So what do you suggest? Asked another. We escalate, Yellick said. Send in a full military unit, take control of the surface. Find the source of this threat. A pause. And if they resist? Yellick's eyes narrowed. Then we show them what real power looks like. 3 days later, the Zalari returned. This time, they brought warships. Dozens of them. They arrived, in the sky like a storm. Dark shadows against the clouds. Lasers glowed. Missiles locked on target. They dropped troops by the hundreds, paratroopers, ground units. Attack drones. They landed in multiple zones across the continent. Their orders were clear. Secure the ruins. Capture any surviving humans. Eliminate resistance. The invasion began. At first it looked like they would win. Zalari weapons tore through. Forests. Their armor resisted bullets. Their tech was far beyond anything on Earth. But then the trap sprang. Anti-grav mines floated up from the ground, pulling ships out of the sky. EMP bursts fried targeting systems. Kinetic barriers exploded, on impact. The Zalari soldiers found themselves fighting invisible enemies. Snipers appeared from nowhere, disappeared before a shot could be fired. Tunnels opened beneath their feet, swallowing entire squads. And worst of all, the terrain itself changed. Buildings collapsed, roads twisted, landmarks disappeared, Earth fought back. From a hidden base, Dale and his team coordinated the attacks. Team Delta moved to Point B, Nina said into the comms. Set the charges. We blow the bridge in 5 minutes. Copy that, came the reply. Eli, Dale said, can you tap into their comms? Eli grinned. I already did, he said. Want me to play some music for them? Dale rolled his eyes. Focus, he said. Eli typed faster. I'm decrypting their signals, he said. They're confused. They think we're working with the ruins. They're not wrong, Nina said. Eli paused. You think the ruins are helping us? He asked. Nina looked at the glowing map. I think, she said, that whatever is, down there doesn't like outsiders. Above them, the battle raged, and somewhere deep beneath the surface, something listened, something ancient, something angry, and it was beginning to wake up. The sky burned red. Zalari warships circled above the ruins like hungry birds. Explosions lit up the night. Smoke rose from broken trees. The ground shook with every blast. The Zalari had come back stronger. They dropped more soldiers, more drones, more weapons, but Earth didn't stop fighting. From the shadows, humans struck fast and disappeared just as quick. They moved through tunnels, used decoys, set traps, fought like ghosts. Commander Lyra Tenshaw watched from her command post. It was deep in the forest, surrounded by fallen trees and burning grass. Her people were tired, confused. This isn't a war, said Captain Darnvex beside her. It's a hunt. Lyra nodded. They're not trying to win, she said. They're trying to survive, and they know this land better than we do. Darn looked out over the battlefield. Then why are they winning? Because they were. Every time the Zalari tried to take control, something new went wrong. A drone would vanish midair, pulled underground by invisible hands. A squad would walk into what looked like an empty village, then never come out. One soldier reported hearing voices whispering in his helmet. Another claimed he saw people who weren't there, and always, the same message played on their comms. You were warned. Over and over, like a ghost voice. Back under Nevada, things were changing. In a large underground base, Chemist Dale Harper sat at a long metal table. Maps were spread out. Red lines marked enemy positions. Green dots showed where human fighters still held ground. Beside him, Nina Morales studied a glowing screen filled with data. This isn't just us anymore, she said quietly. Dale looked up. What do you mean? She pointed at the readings. The ruins, she said. They're responding to the fighting, reacting to the presence of aliens. Eli Walsh, the young hacker, leaned closer. I've been tracking energy spikes, he added. They match the movement of enemy troops, like the planet itself knows when they're near. Dale frowned. That doesn't make sense. No, Nina agreed. But it's happening. She turned to him. We need to find out what's down there. Dale sighed. I was afraid you'd say that. Hours later, a small team left the base. They wore dark clothes and carried only what they needed. Among them were Dale, Nina, Eli, and 2 others, Maggie Cruz, a former Marine, and Benji Ruiz, an engineer who knew how to fix anything, even alien tech. They traveled through old tunnels, some built by humans, others far older. The deeper they went, the colder it got. At last they reached a chamber unlike any other. It was huge, round, filled with black stone walls covered in glowing symbols. In the center stood a tall structure like a spire made of glass and bone. "It's beautiful," Nina whispered. "And terrifying," Maggie muttered. Benji stepped forward slowly. "This place," he said. "It's alive." He touched one of the walls. Light pulsed beneath his fingers. Suddenly the room changed. The floor lit up. Lines of light ran across the ground like veins. The air hummed. A voice spoke. Not loud, not clear, but it was there. "We remember. We guard." They return. The team froze. "What the hell was that?" Eli asked. "I don't know," Nina said. "But I think it just woke up." Above, the battle raged on. The Zalari launched another attack. This time they came with heavy armor. Big machines that walked like beasts. They fired lasers that melted rock. But the earth fought back. Storms rolled in without warning. Winds blew so hard they knocked soldiers off their feet. Gravity flickered. Some places felt heavier, others lighter. And then the ground opened. Tunnels collapsed, traps activated. Weapons buried for centuries rose from the dirt and fired on their own. One Zalari unit found itself surrounded by floating lights. They blinked, pulled weapons from hands, lifted soldiers into the air. Another group vanished entirely. No bodies, no signals, just gone. Lyra watched the reports flood in. Her face was pale. "This isn't a primitive world," she said. "This is something else." Darn stared at the screen. "They're not just defending themselves," he said. "Something is helping them." Lyra looked at the footage again. "Or maybe," she whispered, "they're just the ones who survived. Long enough to live here." Back underground, the team kept exploring. The voice in the chamber had stopped speaking, but the lights still pulsed. Benji worked quickly, trying to connect a portable scanner to the wall. "This system is ancient," he said. "Older than anything we've seen before." "What does it do?" Dale asked. Benji frowned. "I'm not sure," he admitted. "But I think it was built to keep something locked away." Eli looked around nervously. "Locked away?" he repeated. "Like what?" Nobody answered. Instead, Nina focused on the symbols. She compared them to the ones they'd found earlier. The warnings, the messages, and then she saw it. "It's not just a defense system," she said. "It's a prison." Dale's eyes widened. "A prison?" She nodded. "These ruins, these warnings. All of it was meant to keep something trapped down here." Eli swallowed hard. "Then what happens if it gets out?" Nobody wanted to answer. On the surface, the Zalari regrouped. They had lost more than half their forces. Their machines weren't working right. Their soldiers were scared. Lyra called a meeting. "We pull back," she said. Captain Darn looked surprised. "You can't be serious." "I am," she said. "We don't understand what we're dealing with. We came here thinking we could conquer a primitive world, but we've been fighting something older than our empire." Darn shook his head. "If we leave now, we'll look weak." Lyra stared at him. "We are weak," she said. "Here, on this world. If we stay, we die." She looked out over the ruined battlefield. "And I won't let that happen." That night, the Zalari began to withdraw. They loaded survivors onto ships, left behind broken machines and dead comrades. As the last ship lifted off, Lyra looked down at the burning land below. "We were warned," she said softly. Behind her, the stars stretched out in silence, and somewhere deep beneath the surface, the prison stirred, waiting, watching, still guarding its secret. The Zalari flagship hung in space like a silent shadow. It was far from Earth now, but its crew still watched, still studied, still tried to understand what had gone wrong. Commander Lyra Tenshaw stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the glowing image of Earth below. It looked peaceful from here, blue, green, calm. But they all knew better. They had lost hundreds. Their tech had failed. Their soldiers had vanished without a trace, and worst of all, they didn't understand why. "Report," she said. Captain Darn Vex stepped forward. "We've analyzed the data," he said. "Everything we recorded, every signal, every energy, spike, every message, we ran it through our archives." "And?" Lyra asked. Darn hesitated. "There are similarities," he admitted. "Old records, ancient ruins, stories passed down by species we thought were myths." Lyra turned to face him. "What kind of stories?" He tapped his screen. "A warning," he said. "From a time before our empire, before any known civilization." The screen changed, text appeared, in many languages, some long dead, others unknown, but one phrase repeated across them all: "Do not land. Turn back now. This world is sealed." Lyra stared at it. "They weren't just warnings," she said softly. "They were instructions." Darn nodded. "It looks like this planet has been off limits for a very long time." Lyra crossed her arms. "But why?" she asked. "What is so dangerous about Earth that even ancient civilizations feared it?" Nobody answered, because nobody knew. Back on Earth, deep beneath Nevada, the team was still exploring. Dale Harper led the way through the dark tunnels. His boots made soft sounds against the stone floor. Beside him walked Nina Morales, Maggie Cruz, Benji Ruiz, and Eli Walsh. They had come back to the chamber where the voice had spoken. The lights still pulsed. The walls still hummed with power. Benji knelt beside a console built into the wall. It was covered in dust and time. "I think I can get more out of this system," he said. Eli leaned over his shoulder. "You sure?" he asked. "Last time you touched something, half the base went dark." Benji gave him a look. "That was one time," he muttered. Nina stepped closer. "Can you translate anything?" she asked. Benji tapped buttons. Lights flickered. Symbols shifted. Then, suddenly, the voice returned. Not loud, not angry, just old. "We remember. We guard. They return." Eli shivered. "I really hate that thing," he whispered. Dale stepped forward. "Who returns?" he asked. Silence. Then, "The ones who came before. The ones who left. The ones who must never wake." Nina's eyes widened. "They're talking about something else," she said. "Something trapped here." Benji kept working. "I think I found part of their history," he said. "I can play it." He pressed a button. A light filled the room. Images danced on the walls. They showed scenes from long ago. A sky full of ships. A great city built of black stone. Creatures that looked almost human, but not quite. And then destruction. Fire. Lightning. The ground cracking open. And a voice speaking again. They woke too. Soon. They could not be stopped. So we buried them. And we waited. For someone else to try. The light faded. The room fell silent. Eli swallowed hard. "So let me get this straight," he said. "Some ancient race did something bad. So bad that other aliens locked them underground? And now we live on top of it?" Nina nodded slowly. "It makes sense," she said. "Why there are no messages from Earth? Why no satellites? Why the surface changes?" Dale looked around. "And why Earth fights back," he added. "Because it's not just protecting people. It's protecting itself." Benji stood. "If we triggered the defense systems when the Zalari landed," he said, "then maybe whatever is trapped down here is starting to wake up." Nobody spoke, because they all understood what that meant. Above ground, the Zalari were watching again. They had sent a new team to Earth. This time not soldiers. Scientists. Their mission, learn the truth. They landed carefully, quietly, no weapons, only tools. They explored the battlefield, studied the ruins, looked for answers. They found the same strange stones, the same symbols, the same warnings, and they found something else. Bodies. Zilari soldiers who had died during the attack. But something was wrong. They were not decayed, not broken. They were frozen, as if time had stopped for them. One scientist reached out, touched the chest of a fallen soldier. The body moved, just slightly. His hand twitched. His eyes opened. For a moment, he looked alive, then he screamed a sound like static, like pain. Then he collapsed, dead, again. The scientists backed away. They didn't understand what they had seen, but they knew one thing. Earth was not just dangerous, it was alive. Back underground, the team listened to what the Zilari had found. Eli, read the report on a stolen comms channel. They say some of their dead came back, he said. Like for a second. Nina frowned. Maybe the prison isn't just keeping something locked away, she said. Maybe it's trying to bring something back. Dale looked at her. Do you mean? She nodded. Their dead might not stay. Dead. Eli paled. Oh man, he said. That's not good. Benji checked his scanner. The energy under this place is growing stronger, he said. Whatever is down here, it's waking up faster than before. Dale took a deep breath. We need to seal it again, he said. Nina shook her head. We don't know how, she said. And even if we did, we might not be able to stop it. Outside, thunder rolled. Not from clouds, from deep beneath the earth. Something was moving, waiting, watching, getting ready. The sky turned black, not from clouds, not from smoke, from ships. Zilari warships filled the sky like stars gone wrong. Dozens of them, sleek, fast, deadly. They had returned, not to explore, not to negotiate, to end this once and for all. Commander Lyra Tenshaw stood at the front of the command deck. Her face was calm, but her heart pounded. She looked out over the planet below. Earth. A world that had cost them too much. Too many lives, too many questions. Now, they would have answers, or they would burn it to ash. Begin orbital bombardment, she ordered. The weapons fired. Lasers fell from the sky like fire. Explosions lit up forests, mountains, oceans, but nothing changed. No surrender, no signal, no sign of life. Only silence. And then the ground moved. Deep underground. Alarms blared. Red lights flashed across the walls. Machines hummed to life. Old systems powered up after centuries of sleep. In the control room, Dale Harper stared at the screens. They're really doing it, he muttered. Beside him, Nina Morales. Watch the data stream. They've locked onto every known landing zone, she said. Trying to wipe us out. Dale turned to the others. Maggie, he said. Get the teams ready, we move in 10. Maggie Cruz nodded. Already on it, she said. Benji's got the tunnels prepped. Benji Ruiz gave a thumbs up. We blow the first line in 5 minutes, he said. Let 'em feel the ground fight back. Eli Walsh typed furiously on his keyboard. I'm hacking their comms now, he said. Want me to mess with their targeting? Dale smiled grimly. Make them think we're everywhere. Eli grinned. My pleasure. Above, the Zilari continued their attack. They dropped more troops. Heavy armor, shock troops, bioweapons. They landed in force. But Earth fought back harder. As soon as the first squad stepped off their ship, the ground opened beneath them. Tunnels swallowed them whole. Others were hit by unseen snipers. Traps exploded underfoot. Drones were pulled from the air by invisible forces. One soldier screamed as his weapon melted in his hands. Another vanished in a flash of light. They didn't understand what was happening. They only knew one thing. Earth hated them. Lyra watched the reports flood in. Her people were dying. Fast. She turned to Captain Darn. "This isn't working," she said. "We need to pull back." Darn shook his head. "We can't," he said. "We've already committed. Too much." Lyra looked at the screen again. On it, footage played from one of the drop zones. Humans, just regular humans, were fighting back. Not with advanced tech, not with magic, with courage, with traps, with knowledge of the land, and behind them something else stirred, something ancient, something angry. Underground, Dale led the team through the tunnels. They moved fast, quietly. Their mission: reach the central core of the prison. It was deep, hidden, dangerous, but if they could activate the final defense system, they might be able to seal whatever was waking up, again, maybe forever. Behind them, explosions echoed. Above, the battle raged. Outside, the Zalari pushed forward. Inside, the humans ran. At last, they reached the chamber, the same one where the voice had spoken before. But now it was different. The lights burned brighter, the symbols glowed red, the floor pulsed with energy. Benji stepped forward. "This is it," he said. "If there's a way to shut this place down, it's here." Nina scanned the console. "There's no off switch," she said. "It's not built to stop, only to contain." Dale looked around. "Then we make our own." He turned to Maggie. "Set the charges," he said. "We take out the main core, seal this place before whatever's inside wakes up." Maggie nodded. "Got it." Benji frowned. "But if we do that," he said slowly, "we might not survive." Nobody spoke, because they all understood. This wasn't just about stopping the Zalari. It was about stopping something worse. Back above, the Zalari tried one last push. They sent in their elite units, warriors trained for war. Soldiers who never lost. They marched into the forest. They never came out. Trees twisted around them. The sky darkened. Gravity shifted. One squad reported seeing ghosts, people who died in earlier battles, walking toward them with glowing eyes. Another heard voices whispering in their minds. They tried to retreat, but the ground wouldn't let them. It swallowed them whole. In the chamber, the team worked fast. Eli finished uploading the final sequence. "It's done," he said. "Once we trigger the charges, the prison seals itself again." Dale checked the timer. 5 minutes, he said. "That's all we've got." Nina looked at the glowing wall. "The voice hasn't spoken," she said. "Maybe it knows what we're doing." Dale nodded. "Good." He turned to the others. "This has been an honor," he said. "We did what we had to do. We protected this world, even if nobody ever knows." They all nodded, even Eli, who was shaking like a leaf. "I'd rather be anywhere else right now," he whispered. Maggie gave him a grin. "Me too, kid." Dale stepped back. Time to go. They ran. Through the tunnels. Through the fire. Through the darkness. Just ahead, the exit glowed faintly. They were close. Then, the explosion hit. A shockwave tore through the tunnels. Lights flickered. Walls cracked. Dust filled the air. They kept running, just barely. When they finally made it outside, the sky was clear. The Zalari were gone. Their ships had fled. Their soldiers had vanished. The battlefield was silent. Days passed. Weeks. The Zalari returned to space. They studied Earth from orbit. There was no movement, no signals, no signs of life. But something had changed. The ruins were gone. The warnings were gone. The strange energy readings had disappeared. It was as if Earth had sealed itself away. Forever. Lyra stood on the bridge of her ship. She looked down at the quiet planet. "We were warned," she whispered. Captain Darn stood beside her. "What now?" he asked. Lyra didn't answer right away. Then she said, "We leave." And they did. Far below, deep in the earth, something stirred. Not awake, not yet, but listening, watching, waiting. And somewhere deep in the shadows, a single light remained, a beacon, a warning, for anyone foolish enough to come back.